Hello there, and a warm welcome to the program, Energy and You. The show brings you weekly highlights of activities within the energy sector with a focus on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited. I'm Erusa Igumbo. On this episode, NNPC Limited forges strategies to align its gas, power, and new energy business to attain energy sufficiency, as NNPC New Energy Limited advocates for behavioral change at all levels for Nigeria's energy transition journey. All of these and more on the show today. Please stay with us. Now let's begin with top stories making the round in the global energy space this week. The Nigerian government has attracted over $2 billion in investments in the renewable energy sector over the past decade. The Agency on Rural Electrification announced this following the recent negotiation and advanced approval of $750 million facility secured with the World Bank. The fund will be used to expand renewable and rural electrification initiatives and provide additional resources to Nigeria as part of response to subsidy removal. Up to 250,000 households are to benefit from this renewable energy scheme in the coming year. Oil prices fell more than $1 at the start of the week as concerns about supply disruptions eased due to diplomatic efforts in an attempt to contain the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian Islamist group Hamas. Brent crude futures fell 67 cents to $91.49 a barrel, having lost $1.08 to sell at $91.08 a barrel earlier on Monday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were down 82 cents at $87.26 a barrel, after sliding $1.72 to $87.03 a barrel earlier in the session. With the possibilities for innovation and advancement constantly influencing the dynamics of the energy industry, the Gas, Power and New Energy Business Unit of NNPC Limited recently organized a retreat for its management staff. The retreat was designed to align the priorities of the directorate to synergize its approach in business towards meeting its set objectives in recognition of the dynamics of global business demands. Take a look.
The Gas, Power and New Energy Directorate's Management Retreat served as a platform for key executives and leaders within to outline strategic objectives and discuss pivotal issues in gas, power and emerging energy sources. It had in attendance top management of NNPC Limited, heads of business units under the Gas, Power and New Energy Directorate and international consulting experts. The Group CEO NNPC Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, made a keynote presentation. He emphasized the critical role played by the Gas, Power and New Energy Directorate within the company, highlighting the significance of gas as a transition fuel in transforming the nation's energy landscape, whilst underscoring the global shift towards new energy prospects.
We must make sure that we invest, we look for partners who will directly invest with us, we make sure that we deliver on those projects.
Earlier in his remarks, the Executive Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy, Lalikon Ogunleye, set the tone for retreat. He outlined 6 pillars for success, which the Directorate must focus on.
We will create and align on our business priorities and targets for 2024, while paying attention to finishing strong in 2023. So this is a major deliverable for us. We will talk about how to foster collaboration and value enhancement within our business. We've talked about this. We will, again, together, think through cost management and how to optimize costs, because the profit is in the cost. You manage your cost, you optimize your profits.
The retreat also featured consulting experts who took turns to provide futuristic insights on leadership and the journey of discovery and reimagination.
Leadership needs to embrace this notion of divergent thinking and then convergent planning using different insights.
We've looked at the view and would say, you have the opportunity to really not only serve a very substantial and healthy domestic gas growth, but also have an export market that's unique and exciting. So again, as an investor, it looks like an opportunity to join something special. Differently, you have to think about how do you see the world? So where do you see the world going and how do you participate in it? And then how does the world see you? Because how the world sees you is going to define in many ways who brings capital to the business you're trying to grow.
Leaders of business units under the Gas, Power and New Energy Directorate shared insights on key performance indicators, projects, business plans and risk mitigations in their businesses.
We are re-strategizing and we are refocusing, and we also have come across new initiative. People are now beginning to contact us for exploring all possible opportunities, because people are willing to come to us now because of the fact that we have a new mindset as a commercial entity.
We need to do more on the infrastructure. We need to get gas across to people. We need to complete projects on time. We need to save costs. And key among this is the collaboration we have, the networking, because this also helps us. Collaboration cuts cost and save time.
Our target is integrity, excellence, and sustainability. So we've looked at all the remits of our organization today, and the idea is how do we sustain the growth that we've achieved over the last couple of years. And for us in NGML, our primary objective is to deliver quality gas to our customers and consumers at an affordable price.
The 2023 Management Retreat by the Gas, Power and New Energy Directorate ended with a renewed sense of purpose and strategic direction for the business unit. The outcome of the retreat is poised to shape the future trajectory of contributions by NNPC Limited to the nation's energy goals and global energy trends.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, recently signed up to the UN Global Compact, a move which made the national oil company the first state-owned oil company to join the global initiative of attaining energy transition through cleaner and renewable energies. It is in the drive to further boost its footprint in the renewable energy space and help Nigeria in reducing its carbon emissions that the NNPC New Energy Limited was birthed. NNPC New Energy Limited, a business unit of the NNPC Limited, is being led by Mr. Kanayochukwu Odue. He is here with us on the show today to discuss the mandate of NNPC New Energy Limited and the strategies being deployed on the future of clean energy for Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Now, NNPC Limited became the first state-owned oil company to sign up to the UN Global Compact. What does this mean for the company and Nigeria in general in its campaign for cleaner energy?
The move by NNPC Limited to sign up to the Global Compact initiative suggests that, or is an illustration that NNPC is committed towards moving to renewable energy. Now, the implication of this will be that Global Compact will monitor our commitment. Right. And some of these commitments include what percentage of our budget will go to, budget in this case being NNPC Limited, which is our mother company, percentage of our budget that goes towards renewable energy drive, the kind of engagements we have with leading players in the energy field, and they will also track our implementation or our drive towards renewable energy.
Now, in talking about commitment, what's the future of fossil fuel and biofuels in Nigeria, and are we really prepared to transition to cleaner energy?
We have to leapfrog, and one of the great advantages we have here in this part of the world is the resources, the substrates required to go towards the renewable energy drive are in abundance. The technologies are not so complex, and it depends on which part of the technology you want to go with. For instance, solar, where we have to rely on solar panels, we import them for now, but I am optimistic and I am sure that Nigerians are moving towards manufacturing and producing here.
Right.
Okay, now we talk of biofuels. Those are things that you don't really need any complex technology to engage in or to produce or to manufacture. So we can actually on our own go into production of biofuels. Then we have geothermal energy, where we can use the fields we have, some of our fields, oil fields that are there, high pressure and high temperature fields, to generate energy. The other part of it too will be biogas from waste. We have abundant waste around, both agricultural waste and human waste, that we can convert to some form of energy, renewable energy.
But what are some of the behavioral changes that you think we should begin to adopt in order to attain clean energy culture?
So one of them will be implementation of laws, what we call hard laws, right? And these hard laws are government regulations or government laws and the enforcement provisions as well. So we can have strict liability enforcement where people violate laws and we don't care, or the government will not care where or who committed the offense. It becomes a strict liability. As long as the waste or the abuse is before your property, you pay. Now, with respect to soft laws, this is more individualistic. So even in your neighborhood, when you see people throwing trash, people wasting energy, people throwing things that will otherwise or can otherwise be used to generate energy, you call them to order.
But it's okay to have laws, but then again, how do you encourage people to embrace the culture of recycling in our drive for clean energy?
One part of it will be through education, formal and informal, with our children, and then through newsprint, news jingles. And there's another part to recycling that I think we haven't really looked at, and that is the health impact.
Right.
Of not recycling. Some of our wastes that we put and we throw out carelessly can actually be carcinogenic over time because of leaching and leachate and going down to the groundwater table. Second part of this is when we don't recycle properly and we throw out indiscriminate waste and there's no enforcement of laws like we have now, what will happen is the kind of floods we are seeing because of blocks or blockage of drainages, pipes, and whatever what we have. In fact, it also affects wildlife as well,
right,
or sea life. So we have to start to teach our people, talk to them, let them understand the reason to recycle. For instance, my kids now, I think in their own school, I have an 8-year-old and 11-year-old. Anytime we use a bottle, they tell us, Dad, don't throw it in the trash. We have a particular basket where we throw plastics or glass, and then we put it outside. So we start to help even the trash collectors in separating the waste. So there's no added stress on those people who come to pick up our waste and put further burden on companies that are actually recycling waste. Now, in Nigeria as a whole, according to reports, there are about 32 million tons of solid waste generated a year. Now, if a fraction of that is recycled, we don't need to even place a lot of demand. We can actually work, we actually have the raw materials now. Now, this is what we need to adopt for us to progress as a nation.
But while we talk about this, I mean, let's look at what's the strength of our recycling industry in Nigeria, and are there areas that we need to improve upon?
This is where regulation or government policies have to come to play. For instance, in Kenya and in Rwanda, they've actually banned plastics, and 32 other countries. Government can do the same. Right. So the first step could be ban importation of plastic raw materials, and we use what we already have because we have them in abundance, and we can start to recycle them till they kind of phase out. Secondly, the waste, where we have indiscriminate dumping at the dump sites. There's putrefaction going on. There's emission of noxious gases, greenhouse gases, and there's actually a law in place, the Climate Change Act of 2021 in Nigeria, that speaks to that. But there must be enforcement. Right. So there's an interplay between the federal government, the state government, and the citizens.
Interesting. Now talk to us about the investment opportunities available when you adopt clean energy and what this portends for the economy, in terms of the benefits.
One part of clean energy is solar. We know we're having a lot of power problems all over Nigeria. And part of it has to do with grid supply of electricity. But you can have in situ solar power in villages. And once you do that, automatically productivity improves. This is one. Two, there is actually a company in Nigeria now that takes seaweed that causes a lot of problems along the Lagos waterways. Right. And that company converts this seaweed to biofuel that they use to cook. Now, you solved two problems, or addressed two problems simultaneously. One is this: in converting the seaweed, economy is prospering because it's hiring people, logistics companies to distribute. The second part of this is when the seaweed starts to grow, and it normally starts to grow, I think around September, December, during the dry seasons, it affects the fish life, wildlife, and this affects those fishermen who catch the fish to sell. Consumption. That affects the economy as well. Right. So you can see the interplay with our clean energy and the life of the citizens. So there are enormous opportunities, but again, there must be support from state government, federal government. And I'm one who advocates for free markets. But even with free markets, there's a role for government to play.
Just before I let you go, are there any projects that the company is embarking on to promote biofuels?
Currently, we're actively engaged with Kebbi State government and also our partner that we working in a tripartite arrangement, 3D High Tech. So the purpose of that arrangement, the joint venture, is to produce ethanol from cassava and then use the ethanol as a blend with PMS. The other thing we're also looking at, and we're working actively at, is to produce biodiesel and we're currently talking with Cross River government to grow palm plantation and to refine it for biodiesel that can be used as jet fuel, implementing some kind of technology to transform the organic compound.
Okay, so I'd like to say thank you very much at this point, and I'm wishing you success in all your endeavors. Thank you so very much for joining us on the program. I've been speaking with Mr. Kanayochukwu Odwe, Managing Director, NNPC New Energy Limited. The program returns in a moment. Stay. Welcome back. Here's our weekly update on the ongoing war against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism.
Across the Niger Delta, the war on crude oil theft is on, and the industry-wide security collaboration continues to record remarkable progress. In the past week, 149 incidences were recorded across the Niger Delta. In some areas of the Niger Delta, it's become a warfare of sorts. In Osuobodo, between two Antan flow stations south of Oguta Naval Base in Imo State, an oil bunkering site was uncovered. Far from the regular, these criminals have taken their activities a notch higher. In this camp, CCTV cameras have been installed on trees by the thieves to look out for security operatives. Mortar launchers and defense systems were also mounted by the oil thieves in various locations to eliminate any perceived enemy. This discovery was made possible after an invasion by the military following information gathered by an air surveillance carried out by Target Energy, Tantita Security Services, Operation Delta Safe, and the military in August. It's a well-orchestrated mission. The thieves are determined to live here and trade their stolen crude. A lack of electricity is not an excuse. Generators are on standby to keep the camp's operations afloat. Drums of crude oil feeding from an illegal connection, bags used for storing crude oil, and more were discovered on the camp. Between the 14th to 20th of October 2023, 49 illegal connections were uncovered in Udu and Oharefe in Delta State, Ohaji Egbema in Imo State, Braz in Bayelsa State, and in Rivers State. At this spot in Rivers State, oil thieves drilled a tunnel underneath the tarred road to insert their illegal connection. The aim is to operate undetected. This is suspected to be planned and carried out by an expert using a horizontal directional drilling machine. 16 cases of pipeline vandalism were recorded this week in Azuzu in Bayelsa State and Obodo Omadino and Ogidigbein in Delta State, where a wellhead was vandalized. In Ozuako in Abia State, a vandalized pipeline is being repaired. 10 facilities used for storing stolen crude were uncovered in various locations in Niger Delta in the past week. In Ekpemu in Delta State, an interesting discovery was made.
This is Ekpemu Axis, back of Jones Creek. That's where we discover all these ones now. All this sack you're seeing is crude oil. So as you can see, there is no pipeline here, but once they dig the ground, as they dug it, crude oil will start coming out and they will start fetching. As you can see, all these places are little holes. They dug it and they start extracting the crude oil. As you can see, all these ones are already sacked. You can see the holes littered everywhere. You dig, you fetch.
More storage facilities were discovered in Uborodo, and Kwale in Delta State, Tombo and Emoha in Rivers State, and Yenagwa in Bayelsa State. In Ozoro, Umosong and Patani in Delta State, vehicles conveying sacks of crude oil were arrested and their content confiscated. 5 vehicle arrests were made between the 14th and 20th of October 2023. 18 wooden boats conveying stolen crude were also apprehended this week in Rivers, Delta, and Imo states. 9 of these incidents took place in the deep blue water, 23 in the western region, 67 in the central region, and 50 in Nigeria's eastern region. For NNPC Limited, there is no backing down on the war on crude oil theft until the menace is eradicated for good.
Time now for Street Voices. On this segment, we go to the streets to hear what people have to say about topical issues around the energy space, including the economy, the environment, and security. This week, our focus is on crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism. We sampled people's opinion about what they know and what can be done to curb the menace.
So I feel that they should do more on applying these technologies so that they can be able to arrest these criminals, because it should not just be all about using the physical force.
First is to provide social amenity for those guys, empower them, understand, give them loan, even those small loans, so that all these guys have something at hand to do and give better things to their community. To me, this vandalism will stop immediately.
So there should be social scheme to send them to school. Let them be educated on the importance of education. They should go to universities and be employed. Okay, so because if they are not employed, there will be nuisance in the society. They will continue to vandalize the place.
We caught these guys stealing from us. What are we supposed to do? Is to get the perpetrators and persecute them, and this will stop.
And this is where we end the show today. Thank you for being a part of it. You can catch up on all episodes of Energy and You by scanning the QR code on your screen now. Also remember to follow us on all our social media handles showing on your screen to get updates on activities of NNPC Limited and other developments in the energy sector. Keep a date with us again next week for a fresh episode. I'm Egusa Igumbo. See you again.